Pentecostal Praise Jam by Nana Yaobuedu Jr. And we get into our conversation this morning. Now, we're talking this morning about foreign control. And we're asking a very tough but important question, whether foreign control of our natural resources in Ghana it's time to reclaim ownership of these foreign controls. Now, think about it. Ghana is sitting on gold, we're sitting on oil, bauxite, and more. And just last year, gold exports alone brought in over $11 billion. Yet, when you and I look around, do we really see that kind of wealth in our communities? President John Dramani Mahama, speaking at the UN General Assembly, warned that the days of parceling out vast concessions to foreign interests must come to an end. And so this morning we want to unpack that particular paradox. Why do multinationals walk away with so much while Ghana gets only a fraction? Can we shift the balance, and what would it take to actually make sure ordinary Ghanaians finally feel the benefits of our natural wealth? And that's what we're talking about this morning. My guest is already seated. His name is Dr. Felix Larry. He's a development economist at the University of Ghana. Institute of Development Economics Research. Yes, and he joins me in studio for this conversation. You're welcome, Doc. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
for having me here.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming as well. All right, let's get into our conversation. Of course, Ghana is blessed with so much resources, but when you look at our development, and you are a development economist, when you look at our development as a country, it doesn't reflect the kind of resources that we have or we sit on. And former President Akufo-Addo said that it is scarce will come day.
Exactly.
That is actually the reality of the Ghanaian people. Why is that paradox still existing?
Okay, good morning to our cherished listeners and then our cherished viewers. Yes, you are right. And the former president was right then, and he will be right today. And I believe our current president is also in agreement to that particular statement.
Absolutely.
You are right. There has been a clear mismatch, between our development or the benefit that we ought to derive from our natural resources and the natural resources that we own, in itself.
Yeah.
And this is because since independence, our government, and not only Ghana, I'm talking about in Africa, in entirety, have allowed foreign multinationals to control a greater share of our natural resources, simply because we tend to have leaders. For example, in Ghana, after Nkrumah, we tend to have leaders who were short-sighted. They were not forward-looking. They were not futuristic in their thinking, and therefore they were thinking, in the immediate solution, and therefore any crumbs that they put on the table, they accept it. And as a result of that, it has become a disease, such that looking at the resources that we are endowed with as a country or as a continent, we are the poorest in the world, and that is not good. And so, if you ask me of the reasons are obvious. You don't need to hold a PhD in economics or in any field to be able to tell. If your parent bequeaths some sort of inheritance to you or properties to you as an inheritance, I beg your pardon, and you are not able to manage it, and rather you give it to an outsider to manage and then give you a smaller share. And sometimes they have to even determine when you should receive that smaller share, or they even have to determine how much you should get as a share. In the name of the fact that they are bringing the technology, they are bringing the funds to be able to explore that particular resource or that particular property, then you're not going to make it in life. You are only going to be a beggar in the end. And so the way we have, managed our resources has not been the best. And I think it is even too late for us to wait until the days or until the second coming of President Mahama, for him to go and be on the platform of the United Nations and then make such comment. I think we have also failed as a continent to copy the countries within the Sahel regions. Now, France, in the first time, when I read some article online, is known to, be engulfed or saddled with some sort of national debt to the tune of billions of dollars.
I see.
And there has been recently, a demonstration to even ask the president to resign and all of that. This is because, you see, they have been milking Africa all over the years. And when the regions or the countries within the Sahel region woke up and decided to take their own future into their hands and stopped France from exploiting their resources, you can see what is happening. If we will wake up and realize that Africa is the backbone of the entire global world and take the mantle in our hands and tell ourselves that inwardly we shall build businesses on our own and be highly apolitical. Because, for example, in Ghana here, anybody who is trying to rise up as an international kind of business mogul, we find a way to bring the person down. If we don't use politics, we use our own pull him down, attitude to bring the person down. If you look at Nigeria, for once, Dangote was built by government after government. And today, of course, Nigeria is still in limbo. However, he's the only person or an African businessman who has been able to build an oil refinery. I think in Nigeria, and I'm told in Ghana here too, I stand to be corrected, he's trying to do something of that sort. Meanwhile, as a whole nation, we have tore and we have left it, ajar, just like that. And so, my brother, the reasons are, simply because our leaders have been lazy in their thinking. They have not been, forward-looking. They have not been futuristic in terms of trying to understand how we can harness our natural resources to the collective benefit of our people. But rather, we sell it off and get some fewer shares. And if the time will permit me, I will mention some companies and how long they have been in this country and currently how much government is getting as a share from their operations.
Actually, I'm going to come to that. I mean, the value that we retain from some of these natural resources and how much actually leaves the country. But so are we saying that the matter is a matter of how we structure our deals or mismanagement?
One is the matter of how we structure our deals. I am not saying in entirety that having multinationals to help you explore, I don't want to use the word exploit, but explore the natural resources you have in itself is a wrong thing. But it's about the deal that is cut. We are in a continent where, today I don't want to focus so much on Ghana because Ghana is part of the African continent. Yeah. So we are in a continent where leaders go to the negotiation table and it's about what they can get first for themselves before they think of the nation. And so once these multinationals know that our leaders are there with their stomach, then what they will do is that they try to, bait them, trap them with some sort of largesse that they will get. And after that, they force them to compromise in terms of selling the nation out. So the deal that we cut is what is actually causing the problem. If you look at the countries in Sahel region, you could see that it got to a time, I'm told, and I am not a student of history, but I'm told that even some of them, their currencies are printed in France. They don't own their own central banks. Everything is over there. When they mine their natural resources, it is France that determines how much they should sell, what quantity they should sell, how much they should bring it back to the country for development, and how much should be saved in the central bank of France, and all of that. If you have leaders who have been so, myopic to sell countries on the continent of Africa to this level, then the neo-colonialism that we've been talking about is even more deeper than the main colonialism that we were facing in the first place. Right. So it's about, partly management. Management, I don't look at it in a very broad, I will look at it in a narrow sense, specifically on the grounds that we don't even have our own technology to do that, let alone to talk of managing it to the best of our. It's about negotiation. We can also say that the tough sort of deals that we negotiate for is also part of the managerial process.
I see. All right, let's come to the value conversation you wanted to highlight. So how much of value do we actually retain in this country from our resources compared to what leaves this country? And you are free to mention those organizations and all of that.
Yes, so if I can cite some examples. For example, if you look at a company like today Anglo Gold, it used to be Ashanti Goldfields.
Yeah.
It's a South African company. their origin is specifically or is headquartered in Joburg, that's Johannesburg. They have been in the country for almost 128 years. You understand?
Yeah.
And currently, Ghana holds no single fixed share of Anglo-Gold Ashanti Company. But Ghana's mining fiscal regime provides the state a free carried interest. Okay, so averagely what happens is that the rate is not fixed. At some point in time, we get 10%. At some point in time, we get 5%, depending on the cost of their operations and all of that. I remember one of them. I can't say whether it is
our own gold.
Yes, our own gold. You see, if you look at the oil, the same thing, we are getting around 10 to 15%. You understand? Other bauxite, whatever. Averagely, it has been ranging between a minimum of 5% to 10%. And a chunk of that goes, outside. And you could see that even royalties to the communities, the corporate social responsibilities that these companies ought to do, even for the communities of their operation, has been in limbo. And nobody is talking about it. Go to Obuasi. Obuasi is virtually a ghost town. Recently, it was declared a ghost town until, the youth there were saddled with teenage pregnancy, drug addiction, prostitution in the township of Obuasi. Now, KNUST, with the help of the district assembly within that particular enclave, and I think the government of Ghana have to build or set up, a campus in Obuasi. I think now the population is around 2,500 students. One of the benefits of having an institution like KNUST or a university of institution of high learning in such a community is to boost the local economy. You could see that a lot of people will come into that particular town. Hostels will be built. It will create indirect jobs and what have you. This is what what has been done so far. But in terms of even corporate social responsibility, community resettlement, proper compensation, scholarship schemes for the people over there, local content in terms of employment and all of that, we have not been effective in ensuring that we monitor these things and ensure that the people within that area, get the maximum benefit. Yeah. And you see, there are also negative externalities in their operations. You understand? Recently, I traveled to BBNE. And then I was there, then boom, not knowing that there was some sort of dynamite. And people were running from their homes. You understand? Likewise, Obuasi, if you go, the town is virtually hanging. Let there be some form of natural disaster like earthquake. You will see how catastrophic that is going to be. And so, a company like Anglo-Gold Ashanti, some of them have been here for 32 years. Tallow oil, since I think 2008, I stand to be corrected up till now. They are there. You understand? But go to the town called Takrady. Little is done by tallow oil and its sister kind of operational firms, multinationals within that particular area, in order to actually uplift the economic fortune of the people over there. And that has not been good, simply because when we get leaders who think about themselves, the kind of houses that they can buy, the sort of cars that they will be driving, so that when there are social functions or providential programs like funerals and whatever, you see them dressed and they drive the best of cars. And that is what we think as a nation. But we really don't think about, the problem is that, they also don't understand how systems are cyclical. You can get all the money that you want, but if these people turn out to be criminals, the people over there, they don't have better, social amenities, they don't have any better economic opportunities and what have you. Now the youth of today on the street, I tell you, the tension, and it pains me that the politicians are not seeing it. The tension, and I keep saying that, look, this current government, led by, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is the last hope for our constitutional democracy. And one day, the people will bring me my stone. And it is there. Look, Global Info Analytics has done study about that recently, about 3 months ago. And it so happened that it was evidentially clear that the youth of the country now even prefer a military leadership as compared to democratically elected leadership. I saw that. You saw that particular. So how did we get here?
Would you say that is even one of the causes of Galamsey?
Of course. You see, the Galamsey that we talk about, I have made a lot of commentary. I've written a lot of articles and it's been published in newspapers here and there. Look, the way we are even tackling it, is superficial. We need to look at the broader picture, because there are network of causes. It's a complex, a kind of a system that we need to be very, very careful and highly scientific in addressing it. You hear people talking about, a state of emergency and what have you. That is not the solution.
I was talking about that this morning on an issue segment, that we're making it look like once there's a state of emergency, we've solved Galamsey forever.
It can't be solved like that. You see, like I said, livelihood matters here. You understand?
Yeah.
And then before we can even think of, that is why I agree. I don't want to be political, but that's why I agree with the president that, look, that should be the last resort. He was right, scientifically right. But the question is, what is he doing? In terms of using other options on his table to ensure that we get to
the government
a
has
level.
put in place certain things.
No, but
NIMOS,
you see,
there
was a time you interviewed me. I said,
yeah.
who watches the watchman? You see, you send people there. These Galamsey people, kingpins, are very rich. The military officer you are sending, I think his monthly salary take home is around 9,000, something like that. He goes there and the people tell him that, we can give you about 200,000 every week. My brother, looking at the economic circumstances at home, then such a person will be compromised. You understand? So it's not about militarization of the system. We need to ensure that alternative livelihood, and here I talk about highly attractive, sustainable alternative livelihood, are put in place. That is the first. Number two, there should be a political will to even go after the politicians who are funding this. And I have a lot of evidence to that. I just don't want to mention names. But the point of that, look, I go to the field. And I know sometimes you go to a village, you interact with some of these. The boys that they go and arrest are people who are also looking for something to eat. So they go and act as laborers over there. Now, when you speak to these people, they will tell you that this concession or this particular mining zone belongs to so and so, his honorable so and so, and what have you. You understand?
What do you think about setting up a whistleblower system for this? I've not heard that in the conversations.
You see, the whole thing, will you blow the whistle?
I mean, the people that you are talking about, that are the laborers there that we are arresting.
Yes.
Won't they be able to give, and then we give them something? Because we've done that for gold board, for gold smuggling.
Yes.
It means that we can do same for Galamsey. But I haven't had conversations along those lines.
That's a perfect question and a perfect comment, my brother. You see, you arrest the people. No interrogation is done. The kingpin comes and then even give money to the officials who are handling these people who have been arrested. You understand? And then they are left to go. The people are arrested today. 2-3 days later, they are back on site working. So who does interrogation? And even if you were, a loyal citizen and you want to blow the whistle that so and so is happening here, your life is at stake. The person or the official, the security official that you are going to report to, how sure are you that that security official is also not compromised? So you see why people are just watching, looking on. So it's a whole complex situation that it needs political will, proper leadership. And if I say proper leadership, I'm not saying that this government is not doing anything. Something is being done, but they are not getting the formula right. And excuse my language, it's early morning. It is only a fool, quote unquote, not to insult anybody, who keeps doing the same thing and expects a different result. You understand? If the module you are using is not working, it means that there's something wrong somewhere. And the main thing that is wrong is lack of political will. Because this particular administration, when they were in opposition, they spoke heavily against that, as if they had the solution, and when they come within 24 hours, they will cramp down Galamsey. But look at the way it is being handled. It's like we are handling, we are not handling, because there are people within this government who are also part of the game, even in the days when they were in opposition, up till now. That is number one. Number two, we need traditional leaders, you understand, to also have the will of leadership and then clamp down this particular act in their communities. They are also compromised. They are making money out of it. You understand? Because these days, our constitutional democracy has taken all the powers from the chiefs. Gone are the days the chiefs had their own way of generating resources for even their own development, generating resources to even take care of the chiefs, because most of the chiefs are not working. You understand? Yeah. He's seated there, now everything is centrally planned. He is hungry. So when these people go there, Chinese or whichever people go there, they give something to the chief, and then he's happy and he allows the thing to go on. Number 3, the religious leaders. Religious leaders are also part. Bigger pastors and men of God in this country also have concession. And I've told you the galamsey is of 2 forms. People are not talking about that. You see, we have the illicit mining. That is where the person has the license for the concession to mine, but the person is doing the mining against the way the law or the regulation, actually provide or specify.
Yeah, right.
You understand? That is illicit mining. They are also doing galamsey because they are not mining according to law, though they have the license to mine. Then the second aspect, and then the first one I've mentioned is where the kingpins are, the politicians, the chiefs, the church leaders and co who are there. Then we talk about the illegal mining. Those people are hungry boys and girls, and they don't even use sophisticated machines like excavators and so forth. You understand?
Yeah.
And then we are talking of, multinationals or foreigners, our resources being in the hands of the foreigners. Do you know that about 60 to 70% of the galamsey activities are in the hands of foreigners? Because even the politicians who have had the concession and then they are mining, they are in partnership with multinationals or foreigners like Chinese, the Indians, the Turkish, and so forth in the country. So the whole thing is a complex system that you can't just, 1, declare state of emergency, and number 2, we can't do the same thing as the way we are doing to tackle it. There should be a way of tackling the root cause of it and ensuring that these youth who are going to be weaned off this kind of activity are also given a very attractive, sustainable source of livelihood. Because they themselves, why? Are you sure?
But that is one of the things we've tried to do over the years.
And how are you doing
with
this?
several initiatives.
The person is getting about, for example, about 10,000 Ghana cedis a week or a month. And you are going to provide a livelihood, which is more or less like this few short-term employment.
So what do you suggest?
Look, we need to, it's about job creation. Most of the programs that this government has launched, I don't see his ministers pursuing them. You see, very attractive, 24-hour economy. My brother, take the policy document and study it. You will see that the people who sat down and compiled created such a document really knew what they were about. But the point of the matter is that is there a will to pursue it? You see, because these are government and politicians, before they come to power, the importers who import those foreign commodities like the chicken and those stuff are their financiers. So when they come, they don't have the zeal, the boldness to implement policies and programs that will reduce importation in such a way that it will affect the businesses of their financiers. So it's just like, produce a nice document, come with slogans to attract the people. Let's win the power, make our own booty, and then we go away. But I think President Mahama, all that he's saying, I agree with him. It's in the hands of foreigners. But Mr. President, it's not just about talking about the problem. Now you know the problem.
Because that's
you are telling us, what are you doing about it? Because your junior brother who attended your own, inaugural kind of program, Trebi, is doing it. If you go to Niger, they are doing it. So you telling us, we know the problem. Africans, we know our problems already. It's about the will and how we can do it. The how is also there. We know how. But even the will to do it is also a problem. Because, constitutional democracy has failed Africa. I am an humanist when it comes to system of governance. I'm not scared about coup d'etat, provided it's not going to shed. Listen, and the coup d'etats that has happened across Africa, for example, Trebi, did you hear of even killing an animal before taking office? No. This time, the military people are also enlightened, and then they are not barbaric as they used to be. This time, when they come with their good heart, and then they take over. And I'm not saying that the same thing should happen in Ghana here. Maybe we will not get somebody who is as sensible as the people in Niger and Burkina Faso. So I'm not calling for coup d'etat. But I'm only saying that what is happening around us is a wake-up call. Because if we are not lucky, and then another military officer takes over, and that military officer is not patriotic, it's not sensible and wise as what we are seeing in our sister or in our neighboring countries, for such a person to take over and then take us back, it will be a serious damage to our progress as people. So the elected leaders, just as President Mahama is actually lamenting about the problem, Mr. President, it's not enough. Your ministers, most of them are not working. the beautiful things that you have launched, I, for one, I'm not seeing it. And do a survey in town. Just step out there and do a survey in town. The last time I was here with Professor Entry, and we were speaking about even tourism. We just celebrated Fetu Afeshe in Cape Coast. Whatever, I mean, where is Panafest? Panafest used to bring a lot of diasporas, black Americans through the slave trade who find themselves over there. They come back to look for their root. And do you know how much the state was making out of that? Now we are relying only on gold board. A time will come if you don't take it, even gold board will be treated like cocoa board. And we'll go back to the same ditch. So we need to be, futuristic. We need to be creative. We need to have committed and competent people to be in places as ministers and government appointees. If we want to take over our own natural resources and then run it as a state and benefit us, we should also deliberately, grow in local businessmen and women to take charge. And we should stop using politics to run businessmen down. Look, Ibrahim Mahama, who is even the brother of this current president, when MPP took over, what did they do to him? Other business, I don't want to mention names. Look at the banking sector. Of course, some of them were doing the bad thing, which I agree. But the way we handled it, was it the best way of handling the whole situation? Businessmen now, all the banks, the bigger banks which are surviving here are foreign banks. Yeah. About 90% of them. You see, we attach politics to everything such that we don't have a well-established one single local mining company or oil and gas company that can even, take charge of our own oil deposits and mineral deposits in this country and compete with the multinationals over here. Almost all of them. Talk of Talo, talk of Newmont, talk of Anglo-Gold Ashanti, talk of all of them. They are all foreigners. So why are you lamenting? And you think they are Father Christmas? Already you are going to sell your soul to them. We don't have the technology. Come and do it and then let's share. And even the sharing, the people you are sending on the table to go and then negotiate. When they travel, they give them women. And then they give them some money for their pocket. The time, even the documents, some of them don't even have the time to read. In the night, they will spend all their time on these women that they have been provided with. By the time they wake up in the morning, and my brother, don't laugh. It's a fact that I'm speaking. I know what I'm saying. They spend their time on the women. By the time they wake up, they have not even read the agreement. So they go and sit at the negotiation table. Everything we agree. With that critically studying the nitty-gritties of such document in order to cut the best of deals for the country. That aside, that is on a lighter side. But in terms of negotiating, people go in there about their personal benefit first. And these people know.
Are you saying that some people, the people who go to negotiate have their own share in the
Of course.
in the deals?
Of course. Look at how contracts are awarded in this country. We pretend that we have what is called procurement regulations and also public procurement, whatever. But my brother, the reality is that is not what is happening on the floor. On the ground. If you go to GANEP's website, where even all government contracts are published over there, go and download whatever tender document. Go and register 500 Ghana cedis and present your document. If you don't use the back door, in fact, they will not even call you again. You wouldn't even know that the contract has been awarded. But we pretend that we have Public Procurement Authority, which is in charge of all government procurement. We pretend. One power change, and recently, didn't we hear the way some contracts were awarded? How did we get here? So it's about what I can get, not what the state can get. That is our sickness in this country. And when you want to do the right thing, they call you as dumb. You are not smart. But I keep saying, if that is how we describe smartness, then this smartness is an act of foolishness. Because being smart to put yourself ahead of the interest of the state and get something for yourself. How many buildings or homes can you stay at a time? How many cars can you drive at a time? Even one house. It's not one room that you sleep in. That one room, your bed is not on one small side. And even the bed, are you able to cover the entire bed? We don't think as people. The white, God bless the white people. I always say that we keep saying, and they colonize us, and it is foolishness. They know that your leaders are foolish. You people, you are foolish. The Chinese, when they come, who hold their hands and take them to the bush? It's not Ghanaians. After they give them some few thousands of dollars, then we rush and take them in there. And then we even rather buy arms and protect them because we have received some few cedis, forgetting that the water that we are polluting, one day seepage will take place. The crops that we are growing will absorb these kind of water, which is actually contaminated with these heavy metal chemicals. And then what happens? Recently, EPA, they did survey by collecting food samples. When they did that, look at the deposit of mercury and all of that. Just last month, between this year, between January to August, about 5,000 kidney cases have been reported by Kolebu Teaching Hospital, not to talk of other major hospitals. Only kidney cases. And when you go and when you break the data down and to get the nuances, it tells you that majority between the ages of 19 to 35, of these cases of the 5,000 are people within that particular age bracket. How did we get here? You get the point I'm making. Yeah. So it's about what I can get during negotiations at the table with these multinationals in our country. It is about what we get. Oh, give us something to go and give it to the old man. Do you know who they are referred to as an old man? The president. For all you know, even the president doesn't even know that somebody is collecting something in his name. And sometimes I pity our president. It's not that they don't have good desire. President Mahama, President Akufo-Addo, President Kufuor, President Rawlings, the late Professor Mills. Just go to their background, and then if you have the opportunity, I had the opportunity to go a bit closer to President Kufuor in his day. At that time I was saying, but when I had the opportunity to say, even at that time at a young age, when the man is talking one-on-one with you, you will see that he has good heart for the people. President Mahama, the same thing. President Mills, everybody, that one is even obvious. You understand? Yeah. The Nana Akufo-Addo that we are mentioning and polluting, what have you. Yes, there are things that some comment that he will make that I will disagree with him. But get closer to the person. You will see that he's a sweet soul. Most of the time, it is the people that they entrust some of these activities in their hands. Greedy people, to use the word of the late President Rawlings, greedy bastard, crass of corruption. You understand? And the bootlickers, these are the people who are sent to go and negotiate on the part of the state, and then they sell us out. You understand? Recently, I used something on my status. China, their former minister for agri, if you saw it, yes, $34.7 million, right? Yeah. $1 million. So he's been sentenced to death. And I wrote, this is a state with seriousness in tackling corruption at all round. And so there's even high disincentive.
We have a plea bargain.
So when the plea bargain doesn't cover my brother who out of hunger went to cut somebody's one bunch of plantain. You saw we are in this part of the world is like an animal's kingdom. It's only the influence and then the muscular, the well-built people who take the freedom, and then the downtrodden, the poor, the marginalized are the people who are used to practice the law or interpret the law. Somebody, as we speak now, somebody is standing in a witness box asking questions about who stole the goats. But we have people who have duped this nation billions of Ghana cedis, millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, in several ways, and they are still even enjoying those booty, and nothing is happening to them. We are talking of plea bargaining. I have been calling for dual prosecution, collect the money, and then the person should be convicted. And here we call it civil and criminal. Civil is about retrieving whatever resources that the person has stolen. And then the criminal, the person should face minimum 5 years. When we do that, at least, I will see that this nation, we are getting somewhere. In China, $34 million. $34 million. Somebody, a former president of agriculture, has been sentenced to death. Here, when you talk about, they say it is cruelty. We understand human rights than anybody. But even the God who created us, when it comes to the time that he's supposed to kill, he will kill just to save the entirety of the world. But we are here. We know democracy more than even the Americans who brought the democracy. We know democracy than even the white. And therefore, we hide under the shadows of democracy, loot this nation to the barest minimum, enrich ourselves, and even buy homes in the land of, foreign world, in the Western world. That is why the current president of Russia told us that Africa, it's a cemetery. We loot ourselves of the resources. Few people do that. Buy houses in foreign lands, and then go for holidays, school our children outside there, and then neglect our own future, generation. And then when we die, what do? They come and bury us in our village, not even in the capital of Accra, in our village. And then the houses you bought over there are there. At some point, your children even cannot even trace it. You understand? So our mindset is what is giving this for. I don't blame them. Look, Talo and Co., I don't blame them. Every businessman is a businessman. Everybody wants to optimize, a profit. Yeah. And so if you are cutting the deal and you are not patriotic, you are not nationalistic, and it's about yourself, they will give you whatever you want so that they can get the best deal on the table. Negotiation is a game. If you do game theory in economics, you understand the whole thing. Negotiation itself is part of gaming. So if on the table, it's about who get the bigger share, and what do you put on the table in order to attract the bigger share. So if I know that what I can put on the table is to get you, Trebi, maybe something, 2 houses in US, which will cost not even more than 300,000. You understand? Some 2-bedroom, whatever. Let's say it's even costing 1 million. And at the end of the day, I can have your resources for the rest of my life. 128 years, Anglo Gold Ashanti. Then Ashanti Goldfields. 128 years. If it were to be a white man's world, Obuasi would have been the most beautiful city in the world. Go to Prestia Mines, where my late dad used to work as an engineer. Go there and see the township called Prestia. Go to Takwa. Go to Bibiani. Go to all the major mining communities. Some of them, mining has taken place over there. Like I said, 128 years. Anglo Gold Ashanti. The rest, 32 years, some 50 years, some 60 years, some 70 years. And go and see even the livelihood of the people over there. The poverty over there. We don't care. Somebody has taken something, has bought one house in US, has bought some houses in Trasaco or any other part of the city where it is perceived that elite and the rich are the people who can occupy there. And then he gets some shoe, and then you see with some V8 and all they think, but forgotten that even after some few years, these things you will die and then leave them. And then you have sold the soul of your country, to the hawks, and they will feed on it. So in this country, there's no hope. There's no hope in the sense that if you want to know that there's no hope, go to the airport, go and see the youngsters who are traveling. Go and see young people who will struggle to make money just to get visa, to go to Qatar and work. Go to the Saudi Arabians and then even Dubai to go and work. Dubai doesn't have gold, but they have a gold village, where when you step there, anything you want, made out of gold, you will get it there. Raw gold, refined gold, and then gold that has been used to, manufacture better jewelries. Look at the American musicians. How many gold is mined in US? But look at the gold jewelries on their neck. Some of them worth $10 million, $50 million just on their neck. Have you ever seen a gold before? You have never seen gold before. A lot of children have never seen gold before. I have had the opportunity to travel to China. And then there's a community I visited. And then just on one morning, I was taking a stroll. There was a school, and recently it's even showing on social media. Some of them are learning how to use natural resources like gold to, how they can transform it into different form that can generate a lot of money. What is your education here? Recently, I went to fight in my child's school. My KG2 small boy, my last born. I was buying books, and they say one book is called I Like Ripe Plantain.
That's the name of the book.
That's the name of the book. I Like Ripe Plantain. So the child was sitting in class, my brother, and all he's thinking that tonight, mommy will cook cocoa and beans. Mommy will cook cocoa and beans. I was even thinking that
people are learning how to.
I was thinking that AI, basic AI principle for KG2, whatever. Then the child will begin to understand AI. Look at the trend, the global trend, where we are going. And your child is here reading a book called I Like Ripe Plantain. Another child, my first child, was asked in the name of RMU or whatever, OWAP. They say, list all the books in the Old Testament. And small girl has opened the Bible, writing, Genesis, listing them. This is the country we live in. You understand? Just a few weeks ago, I was here with Professor Entry, And we're talking about how we can even harness our natural resources. How do we do that? Go to the university, the kind of education that we are having. Some lecturers have their handout about 20 years. The same handout is what they use. And then the whole program is packed in such a way that they are in a rush to complete course outline. You have been a student there before. You understand? And so it's about go and print this. Students are rushing and running after past questions because they want to pass and graduate. They finish and they are nothing. In my office, I employ people. I have to train them in data science before I can even use them to do whatever I want to do. How can I, at this time, as busy as I am, complete a field work and I have to do the analysis when I have so-called staff who should be able to do that? I have to do it myself. So these days, I'm taking the pain to train them on data analytics. Some of them, even the concept that they have used, or they have been taught in school, they cannot even apply in report writing. They cannot apply in their analytics. What are we doing to ourselves as a nation? A university professor has not even seen gold before. In fact, he has not even seen crude oil that has been freshly drilled from the ground before. Meanwhile, if you go to these countries who do not have anything, they know they have some of them to show to their student in class. So are you going to be able to compete when your son is reading I like plantain? I like ripe plantain in school. So the whole thing is it is holistic, and we need to look at the broader picture. So, Mr. President, I agree with you 150%, but telling us the problem, we know the problem. Now you have the chance, and I am happy that the passion you have to have this particular legacy term, the best to create a history, it has to start from you. Appoint and fire, because some of your ministers, they don't even know what they are doing. Look at a youth apprenticeship program. It has been launched. Have you heard? I was thinking that the sector minister by now should have, invite people in Kokompe magazine and what have you, contractors at the round table. We want to assign some youth to you. Government will give you maybe this tax holiday or this kind of incentive. Train them in mechanics, vehicle diagnostics, plumbing, what have you. What is happening? I just saw some Google form flying around. They say registration. Registration for what? The orientation for even the youth on the street to even know that, looking at the education they are given, I think I am best fit for plumbing. So let me go and then make inquiry and whatever. It's not there. And even how many people even own that particular, so even the link flying around, how many people on the street will be able to know that? But inside the youth, you could see the tears in their eyes.
Some of the links don't even work.
Yes.
Some of the links that
you understand? So it's like there is no project implementation manual. There's nothing, no stakeholder consultation going on. Yet we have a sector minister. He moves around with V8. And Mr. President, you are watching these things. The natural resource minister is not only about Galamsey. I mean, now we should be thinking of putting businessmen. That we have a lot of, look at East Legon executive. These are businessmen that if government is willing, he can even have some sort of arrangement to put them together. Let's pull resources together. Government support them, give them some guarantee to secure funding. Let them become, giant in terms of mining and then oil and gas. What are we doing? Because we perceive that some of them are MPP. So we will not help them at all. Because if they make it, it is to them. You understand? And some of the businessmen too, I want to advise, if you want to go far, you see, it's like when we make few thousands of dollars, we are happy. And so we are comfortable as far as we can buy V8, buy some house, and then when there is a funeral or whatever, we go and lavish it around, we are happy. When Dangote and Co. are trying to cut deals to go multinational, we are here, we are happy with the crumbs. And so we end up taking political side, take cheaper contract, make some few dollars or some few pounds or some few cedis, and we think we have arrived. We need to, reorient ourselves and think broadly as people. We should have futuristic kind of agenda that from 10 years to from 10 years now or 10 years from today, where do we want to be in terms of harnessing our natural resources to our benefit as a state? Where do we want to be? How many local businessmen and women do we want them to be active players in the sector, such that they can even go national? We don't have all this agenda. Look at your education system. In the church, they are preaching witchcraft. So we are afraid of our shadows even than anything. Tourism is there. We have demonized everything. You understand? Agriculture, we have some special taste for foreign rice. We have some special taste for foreign chicken. Chicken that has been stored for 3 years with chemical. No wonder, young guy, you are having heart problem. No wonder, young guy, you are having diabetes. Because we don't think. If you have eaten local chicken and this foreign chicken, you will know the differences in taste.
Yeah.
You understand? Everything is fast. And the politicians have seen that. Let's tell them what they want to hear. When we come, let's do our own thing, we walk away. That cyclical kind of thing that we do to ourselves, we ain't gonna go anywhere, my brother.
Well, Dr. Felix Larry is an development economist, and he joined me this morning for this conversation. I know it's been a long conversation, but we haven't even got into even the focus. But I see the passion you're speaking with, and I understand the issues. I mean, all the things that you are saying are very real. These are the real things. But I also love to hear from our listeners. So if you're listening to us and you want to join the conversation, we just have a few minutes to go. Please send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. 0544321019, or you can call me on 030395661, 030395661, and then I give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please do want to drop a comment there, and we'll read that for you. Now I don't know where to even get continue the conversation from, but. Okay, so let's pick it from the percentages.
Yeah.
Now you talk about the fact that some of the percentage we are getting as a country is maybe 11%, 10%, 12% thereabout. What is a realistic percentage that you think that we should go into our deals with?
Using common local sense.
I mean, being careful also not to sack investors. That's a very important point.
Of course, because you need them. And I always talk about the importance of foreign direct investment in the country. You understand? But you see, in local, simple, common sense, in this world, you should know that somebody can have a akukufunu, but doesn't have silver. And somebody may have silver and may not have a akukufunu. Yeah. So what do we do? God, in his own wisdom, did not give you everything. So some point in time, you have to depend on me for you to be able to get what you want. Yeah. I have to depend on you for you. So it's about, and in investment, I keep telling people, and some of the business school, whatever, disagree with me, but that is the fact. The person owning the fixed asset, in my humble opinion, is more important than the person who is holding the variable asset.
Why do you say that?
Or let me put it this way. The person in our context, the person or the country should have more power than the person who is bringing so-called technology or the funding. Because without the natural resources or the deposit of the natural resource, your money is as nothing. Your technology is as nothing. You understand? Yeah. And assuming we don't have the technology and we let it settle there, it is there for us forever and ever. If we don't have the technology today, in future
we can plan and
yes, the future generation can do that. So we always go already emptying ourselves, saying that we don't have the technology, and so you bring your technology and your funding. We are so much focused on the funding and the technology that they are bringing, without thinking that in terms of the negotiation table, we are putting more on the table than what we are taking from them. And apart from even the deposits of the natural resource we are talking about, when they come and then they are exploring or they are exploiting the resources, do you know the negative externalities in terms of health, in terms of marginalizing people, because some of the lands are farmlands. Yeah. You understand?
The environmental degradation.
The environmental degradation. These are negative externalities. So at the negotiation table, we fail to even account for all of that. We go with only the balance sheet of we having the deposit and therefore bring your money. And we see the people bringing the money as more important than us who own the resources. I tell you, if we take the stance that, look, the resources belongs to us. If you bring your money, we are going to give you, let's say, X percentage. In other words, the government of Ghana is going to get the highest share. If you cannot take it, you can leave. You will see the way these white people will beg. Because it's not just about the investment they are coming to make. It's about the resources that they need in their country. Cobalt. Without cobalt, your laptop and your phone, it cannot be done.
Work, yeah.
You understand? So the white even need the resources more than you perceive. And I'm giving you an example. Niger and then Burkina Faso. Look at the way France is struggling. They are lacking, uranium and all the things that they require for their technological advancement. They don't have it. So in terms of getting the percentages, it is about we educating and orienting ourselves that we own the biggest power on the at the negotiation table. Once we get to understand that, then we can, cut a better deal for the country. But we hide under the guise that, they are owning the resources. If they don't bring that thing, will lie in there. So let's give them the higher share. And these people get the bigger share. How can a nation own a natural resource and you get 10%, and the person who is just bringing the money and the technology is getting almost 90%? How? If you ask the politician, they say, but they are also paying taxes. God damn it. If we build our local, businessmen and women to take, wouldn't they also pay taxes? The taxes that they are paying match it against, the negative externalities on the environment, on the individual health, the marginalization of people's economic livelihood. Have we quantified all of that? So it is about the fact that we don't even understand the quantum of power that we will when it comes to the negotiation table.
But one would even think that as we're bringing the people in to come and do the work, and we're saying they have the technology and the resources, when they come, what kind of plan is there for us to also get the technology over a period of time? So let's say they are mining today, they brought their technology, and of course maybe the technology costs $100 billion. What plan do we have to set aside some funds that in the next 5-10 years we also want to get that technology so we can own it and do the mining ourselves?
Okay. I get
do you get the point?
No, I get your question. You see, so look at even.
So we're not thinking.
As young as you are, look at the wisdom that you have put. Look what you said. China did that. A lot of U.S. companies years back, and this is how China made it, went to China and set up their industries or their companies there. And then the Chinese government deliberately ensured that the local content in terms of job creation, China gets the bigger share. And while these Chinese people were there, the government of China was using them to steal the technology. And that's how come now China has beaten US.
Yeah.
It's not that they are beaten, they have already beaten US to it. So all that Trump is doing is out of frustration. China has been able to steal the technology of these international conglomerates or multinationals. And now you will see China manufacture so many things creatively. Ours, we are not like that. Mine it, give us that small share and take care of we the big people. You are fine. How can a country stay here for how can a multinational company stay here for 128 years?
And we've not learned.
And we have not even learned the technology.
What the technology used to do.
We don't even know how they do things. The so-called Ghanaians that they have been employed, the highest is, I think, middle level or whatever. To get to the top level, then maybe you must be somebody that they really trust.
Oh, but we've had Dr. Sam Jonah lead the.
That's what I'm saying. I see, and how many of them, even him, how is the state using him? This is a man who is very knowledgeable in the mining sector. Has been a consultant to even international, organizations. He travels out of the country. That's why he's making his money. How are we using him? We don't care about the technology. We care. That's what I'm saying, that we have leaders who think of now. What can we do to fill our bellies now? What kind of car I can drive now? Forgetting that the 2025 model of V8 will become obsolete by 2026. You understand?
Yeah.
So that myopic behavior is what is killing us. So we don't learn the technology. We don't even negotiate to the level that, okay, we are giving you 50 years to mine with us. Aside the percentage we are getting, after that, you are leaving every technology here. If you want to, if you accept it, fine, we go. If you don't accept it, get out. We don't care. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't really care about that. So that your question you were asking, that should have been the ideal situation.
Exactly.
A deliberate plan over there.
Yeah.
By now, we would have gotten all the technologies we want
For
and
oil,
government,
for gold, for
exactly,
all the
bauxite and everything. Can you imagine for over 400 to 500 years of doing mining in this particular country? We don't even have a single refinery. The one created by Dr. Nkrumah, where is it? Your Thor. How much are you buying fuel? We drill the oil, we send the crude out. They will go and refine and come and sell it to us. So you and I, we pride ourselves that there is oil, in our country, yet we can't even buy fuel. Today, people with V8 are buying tot. A car that is supposed to be filled. You see that the person will buy just 200 cedis just to check his how far. So that also worries your fuel pump, even the quality of fuel. Is it not ideal that the country in which the oil is being drilled should have the best of fuel? But fuel in US, when we get even this second-hand cars from US, look at how smooth the engines are. And look at cars that have been used in Ghana. It is expensive to even buy the proper engine oil to even service the car. Meanwhile, we drill oil here. So you see, our lack of thinking as a state in terms of looking at the future is not there. China has been able to steal a lot of technology, and today they have beaten US to it. You understand? But we are not stealing technology, neither are we also even buying the technology through proper negotiations. It's about bring the money, give the state some portion, take care of we the big people, and then do your job. That's what we have been doing. Otherwise, by now, tallow oil, the technology that they are using, are you saying that Ghana, we cannot even acquire this particular technology on our own? We can do it. But when you ask it, they say, oh, now it is expensive. No. If you go and you negotiate with the particular company that builds that particular technology and agree that you will pay bit by bit, they will give it to you. Nobody goes and buy it, paying everything full. In this world, technology, some of them are very expensive that you pay them, in installment and all of that. Yeah. We can do it, but just that we don't even believe in ourselves. That's what I'm saying. When one businessman even wants to rise and do the needful, they will bring the person down. I will cite Mr. Ibrahim Mahama for the fact that his brother was a president some time ago. I'm talking of the time that NDC was in opposition. For the fact that his brother was then a president. Even the bauxite deposit, look at the hula baloo we did about it. We handed it over to Chinese. What are we doing to ourselves? We can't even pride ourselves with one businessman who has been able to go multinational in terms of oil and gas, in terms of mining. What am I even saying? Even in the country, we don't even have. They even lack the capacity, let alone to think of going abroad and all of that. So it's a very brilliant question, but we don't have the leaders don't have the hope for that. It's about take care of us and give the country something little. And then they stand on the floor of parliament and then pride that where you negotiated at 10, we have been able to bring it to 15. Sick, an act of mediocrity.
Look, we have to go now. Our time is up. I know we can go all day talking about some of these things. The problems are enormous. There are so many that we can't stop talking about them. But maybe your final words, and then we can go.
Okay, thank you very much. My final word. Let's look at the kind of education we have. I always say we are out of the academic system. As I sit here, there's no way I will go and sit in the class again. But I would love a country where you and I, our kids, are being trained how to harness our natural resources and turn them into a form that will give them the maximum benefit when we are gone. So the education system is very, very important. We need to have a critical look at it. The kind of things that our children are studying. Every evening I support my children to do their homeworks, and I cry deep down inside of me that if this is the kind of training that we are giving to the kids, then the country has no future. We need to look at the global trend. Yes, because AI is going on. Even at the university, they are depriving students of using AI. You understand? Yeah. I'm not saying that they should be lazy in thinking, but bring in what is called ethical AI usage. Ethically. Allow them to use it, but ethically. It's very, very important because when they go to the job market, it is AI that you have to use to outsmart somebody who is dumb. So we need to look at it.
I understand it took us a while, quite a long time before we started using calculators at the university level.
Of course. You see, we believe that intelligence lies in punishing yourself. No. Intelligence lies in harnessing the technology and the resources around you to get the best of benefit for yourself. That is what intelligence is about. So train our children on how to use these natural resources. Let's train our children on our culture and tradition. So that they can grow up to protect our natural environment. Let's train our children on how to creatively look at the things around them and how they can make money out of it. That is what we should do as a country. That is number one. Number two, I'm looking for a situation whereby we'll get a group of leaders who are a bit patriotic. No matter what, you cannot get 100% patriotic leadership. But at least halfway patriotic leadership is better than none. I'm looking at that. And President Mahama, it starts on you. Brilliant speech you gave over there. Brilliant speech. I've had the opportunity to make comment on several aspects of your speech. But the point of the matter is that for this one, we already know. So now we want you to tell us what you want to do to take us out of this particular quagmire.
And actually do it.
Yes, and do it. It's not about telling us, but also putting measures in place for us to see that you are doing it. Number three, I am saying that our traditional leaders should also stop following their stomach and think of the people that they are subject in the first place. Because these days we have chiefs who are well educated. It should have even been better than our in our old days where chiefs were highly uneducated. Now we have chiefs who are engineers, lawyers, judges, architects, agriculturists, economists, and all of that. I believe if these chiefs want to be selfless and think for once about their subject, they will be able to make the best of the natural resources around them, for their people. That is very, very important. Religious leaders must also stop taking offering and tithe and begin to teach as part of, look, this is the true gospel. Gospel means good news. And what is good news? Good news is also about taking care of your environment. Good news is also about encouraging the citizenry to think of how they can take advantage of the natural resources God has endowed us with. It's not only about Joseph and what have you, and after that they just take offering and what have you. That is why we have a lot of lazy minds in the country. Because the youth thinks that I cannot create. It is only God that can create and pave way for me. God has finished creating the world. And so we need to wake up. The people who brought those...
Did you listen to me earlier this morning?
No.
It's interesting how the things I spoke about...
Yes.
You are saying the same things.
Maybe the Holy Spirit is here.
Religious leaders and all of that. Yes,
the Holy Spirit is here. You see, we need to teach these things because the places where these churches came from, they are even shutting down these churches and turn them into nightclubs. I'm not saying we should do the same thing here, but the way we are highly religious, the only way you can program our people in a positive manner is to use the religious avenue. That is key. And so our men of God should not be selfish and send their children, to schools abroad and buy homes and what have you abroad and pride themselves that God has blessed them. That is not God's blessing. It is greed and thievery. But rather, using the gospel or using the church as a tool to reorient our people and reprogram our people to ensure that they will see the natural resources around us as the blessings of God and think of how we can collectively work as people and turn these natural resources to the highest benefit of our people is what I will call gospel. Anytime I will see an imam or a church leader like a bishop or an archbishop or an apostle, a prophet, preaching that way, that day I'll become his, that particular pastor, yes, a convert.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Felix Larry Essilfie. It's always a pleasure. Hey, sorry, doctor. Sorry, G-Tech will come for you. Sorry about that, Dr. Felix Larry Essilfie. He's a development economist, and he joined me this morning for this conversation. It's been a very important one, but that's where we leave it for today on this extended edition of the Business Breakfast on Z. Thank you very much for staying right here. We've heard the numbers, we've heard the history, we've heard the challenges. He's spoken extensively about all the things that we need to do as a country. And Ghana is sitting on immense wealth. But the big question remains, will that wealth ever truly work for Ghanaians? And what is clear is that the conversation doesn't end here. The future of our natural resources and the balance between foreign control and local ownership will continue to shape our economy for decades to come. And so let's keep asking the top questions. Let's keep holding our leaders accountable. This has been Business Breakfast on Z. My name is Trebi Hammond. We are back again tomorrow at exactly 6:15. And for more interesting conversations, please don't go anywhere. Keep listening to Z 101.9 FM. And we'll see you tomorrow. When you think Ghana, please think Z. Bye-bye.